Can you imagine getting a letter from your homeowners association with a fine for, wait for it, $350,000? Yeah, that's what happened to me. My jaw hit the floor. The HOA, let's call them the neighborhood watch on steroids, had been on my case for months. First, it was the color of my mailbox. Then, the length of my grass, measured with a ruler, I swear. But this was next level. The letter listed a mountain of violations, an unapproved garden shed, a rogue satellite dish, even the wrong shade of white for my window trim. All adding up to a fine that was more than what I paid for the house itself. I was fuming, I knew. I had to fight this. I spent days digging through my property deeds, land surveys, and every piece of paper I got when I bought the place. The house had been in my family for generations, long before this cookie-cutter neighborhood ever existed. I was looking for a loophole, a technicality, anything to get them off my back. And then, I found it. It wasn't a loophole. It was a bombshell. Tucked away in a dusty old folio from my great-grandfather was the original land grant. I'm talking about a document from the late 1800s. My eyes scanned the faded ink, tracing the boundaries. My heart started pounding. It couldn't be. I pulled up the current county plat map online. My hands shaking a little, I overlaid the old map with the new one. And there it was, clear as day. The lines matched up perfectly. My family's original property didn't just include my little lot. It included everything. The manicured lawns, the identical houses, the community pool, the clubhouse where the HOA held their meetings. The entire neighborhood. I didn't just own my house. I owned all of it. I couldn't stop the grin spreading across my face. The HOA didn't own the land they were so obsessively policing. I did. They were, technically, my tenants. And they had been for decades without anyone realizing it. The original developer who built the subdivision back in the 80s had made a colossal error. He'd built on land he never actually purchased, assuming it was part of a different parcel. And for 40 years, nobody noticed. Until now. So, with this life-changing information, I didn't just call my lawyer. I called the best land rights attorney in the state. We drafted a response. It wasn't just a letter disputing a fine, it was an eviction notice. To the entire homeowners association. We scheduled a special meeting at the community clubhouse, my clubhouse, apparently. I walked in there, and the HOA board president, a guy named Bob, who drove a golf cart like he was a king, just sneered at me. He started the meeting by publicly shaming me for the $350,000 fine. I let him finish. Then I calmly walked to the podium, placed the old deed and the modern survey maps on the projector, and smiled. I said, "Bob, about that fine. There seems to be a misunderstanding. You see, you can't fine me for violations on my own property." And as it turns out, I pointed to the map showing all their houses within my land. This is all my property. The room went silent. You could hear a pin drop. Bob's face went from smug red to ghost white. I then explained the developer's massive screw-up from 40 years ago. The chaos that erupted was legendary. People were shouting, checking their own deeds on their phones, and looking at the HOA board with pure rage. They had been paying fees to a board that had no legal authority over them. I wasn't there to kick everyone out of their homes, of course. That would be cruel. Instead, my lawyer presented them with a choice. We could go through a messy, multi-year court battle that would bankrupt everyone. Or we could reach a new agreement. The new agreement was simple. First, the homeowners association was to be immediately dissolved. Poof. Gone. Second, the absurd $350,000 fine against me was obviously dropped. And third, every household would now pay a modest annual land lease fee directly to me. It was significantly less than their ridiculous HOA dues. In exchange, I granted them official, long-term rights to live on my land. And you know what? They all agreed. Almost cheering. They were free from the HOA's tyranny. As for me, well, let's just say I can now paint my mailbox any color I want. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to follow for more crazy stories.